Hey, we're playing some Bellwright, and I'm making some fences, as you can see right here. Um, Now, I'm assuming that you guys have played this game for a little bit and know what liberations are, but we'll make it quick and say that eventually the towns in the game that are controlled by the governments, which are the Brigands in this game, they're not that nice, and the towns really don't like them. So you get enough trust with these towns, and you have the option to then liberate the town and make them free people, which is cool. You know, you get some nice perks for doing that. But government doesn't like that too much. And every now and then they're going to send out these reclamation parties. And they're going to come, they're going to march from their headquarters down south, and they're going to try and break into this town, destroy the bell tower that you've made to symbolize that you're a free town. And you're going to lose that liberation, and you're going to have to start over. Now, in a game like Bellwright, you're expected to fight an army with an army. You build up your settlement. You got a bunch of people. You got your shoe polishers, your woodcutters, you know, shit like that. And you kind of just throw your bodies at each other until one side wins. Well, for now, as of May 4th, I have a little bit of a unique tactic on dealing with these brigand parties. Now, I did this entirely solo with the use of a bow and arrow. The bow and arrow is fucking broken. So here we're going to show you how I did that. I'm going to give a little bit of commentary while you watch. And maybe next time a reclamation party gets sent your way, you'll have some ideas on how to kind of manage it a little bit easier. So here's what we do. I am running directly towards them by myself. Now you may be wondering, am I suicidal? The answer is no. I just like impressing my girlfriend. So the main idea here is that the reclamation party is going to march directly towards whatever town it says they're going to reclaim. In this case, it's Padstow. I'm analyzing the map because one thing that's important to note about the Brigands is that they hate everything. The AI really doesn't like to fight other bandits unless they're just kind of doing their own thing. But animals, such as boars and wolves, are a key part of this strategy in the event of things not going as well as you'd like. Now what that means is if a wolf or a boar starts attacking you, these guys pretty much swap to it. They're like, you know what, fuck this guy, let's kill the boar, let's kill the wolf, and you can use that to kind of open up an opportunity. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to kill them one by one, which is not an easy thing to do, and you kind of need to understand some of the mechanics when it comes to the AI and the enemies in this game. So we'll go over that as we watch this. Now, the first thing to note is that these NPCs, these brigands, when they're aggroed on you, they start to run at you in a jog. When they're within, let's say, 15 to 20 feet of you, that jog turns into a sprint. And that sprint will maintain for the entire time of them being in combat with you until that combat resets. Now, combat can reset pretty much if you run too far away from them or they just get bored. Like right now, they just said fuck it. Like I don't really know why, but they did. And this is kind of the key aspect that we're manipulating, is that you can use these resets to kind of reset their sprinting and then they go back to jogging. And you see how that one guy is way ahead of the pack? He's got some place to be. The other guys are stuck behind, so you kind of want to just like lure one of them away, because fighting all of them at the same time, like you can do it, but you really need to pay attention to all their swings, the weapons they have, how fast they're swinging, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself. And as you can see, like you can mess up, you know, and just get hit for half your health and damage. I'm chugging health potions like they're Gatorades, so you know I have some backup lifelines here, but it's really important that if you hit your shots, you're going to stagger them a little bit, and they're not going to be able to just complete their swing. But if you miss your shot, well, that swing is going to complete, and it's most likely you're just going to get shit on because of it. Now, here we are basically just trying to get them to line up in a straight line. The hitboxes in this game are a little funky, but they kind of run into each other. So if you can line them up like a domino, the one behind can't get to you. So when you have to deal with multiple of these things, you can kind of manipulate by like sliding to the left and right. I'm kind of just autistic, so I'm kind of explaining what my brain is doing. But here we are, we have 2 of them separated from the pack. Now, all of them are aggroed on me, but because they're not close to me, they're at a slow jog. So right now, I'm just dealing with these 2. And I'm trying to wiggle to the side a little bit just to make it so that the guy with the axe right now stays behind. Well, I guess they both have axes, but you know what I mean. And you kind of just like wait for them to swing and then get some distance, shoot them. Fortunately, Fido comes in and draws a distraction. Shout out to him, but he dies in 1 hit. But you get some distance, so you can abuse that. You know, say that you see a boar on the minimap. Run them to a boar. They're going to target that boar. You bought yourself 5 seconds of breathing room. I shoot him in the head. I run away. Roads are broken in this game. One of the updates that they did probably a few days into the game was that your stamina cost for running on a road is like 75% reduced, which is crazy. It's a lot more difficult to do this outside of a road. If you have a lot of food buffs that give you stamina regen and just more stamina in general, you can get around that. But I wouldn't recommend that unless you know what you're doing. Not that I do. I just shoot things in the head and run backwards. But this is the main gist of it. Now, remember, they're following me. They're designed to run towards the town, but if they're aggroed on you, they're chasing you. So you can run them away from their goal. Eventually, just like now, they're going to get bored and they're going to fuck off. But if you stay near them, think of them like a giant tether and that they're on a leash. If you stay within the range of that leash, we'll say it's probably the size of like my mini map and like the range that I can see them. If that red blip is on the radar, like they're probably going to re-aggro you. Now it's a little buggy. Sometimes they just don't do it at all, but most of the time they do. So you'll see they run off for a little bit, maybe like another 5 seconds. I think there's a wolf up there that just shits all over them, but it draws some time and then we can continue later on. So they aggroed back on me. Shout out to the deer. And now we have 2 of the mobs. The rest of them are still pretty far behind because they were jogging the entire time and these guys were sprinting. So now we're just playing the kite game. We take a shot. We try not to get too close because right now these guys are jogging because combat just reset. We keep that distance. It's not going to work forever. I'm way too greedy and I just want to kill them quickly. So, you know, they will catch up. If you want to play it super safe, just like run a little bit further than I am and just keep that distance constantly and they can't catch you. And as long as you have the stamina to maintain, preferably on a road, you can do it for a very long time. Because of this wall right here, I had to grapple. They got in, not grapple, I don't know what I'm saying. They had to catch up, they got to catch up to me and now they're chasing me. So now I got to deal with 2 of them. The rest of them are at that red stain on the map, so they got a ways to go, but they're coming to me. Like they're not going anywhere else. They act as a group. So we're kind of just like utilizing this to pick them off. Now, like they do a lot of damage, so like just make sure you have enough health and decent enough armor to just not get one shot. The archers use bronze arrows. Bronze arrows are like an economic crisis and like we don't have them and we probably won't have them for a very long time. But because they have them, they can sometimes just hit you in the head and you'll die instantly and you'll have no idea what happened. It's very frustrating, but play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Try to always be moving if there's an archer near you because sometimes they have crackhead aim. Now, unfortunately, I ran to a bandit encampment, and I'm realizing this, so now we're turning around. I think we've killed maybe 4 or 5 of them so far. The reclamation parties, so far that I've seen, we've liberated 4 towns so far, and the reclamation parties are pretty much like 8 to 9 mobs max. I haven't seen more than that for those. Don't get this confused with the brigand parties that get sent when you put the bell tower down as like an initial. You need to defend the town because you just liberated it. Those ones can have upwards of like 14. I soloed one of those earlier. I almost had a heart attack doing it, but I accomplished it, and I probably went through like 200 arrows. But you know what, like gamers gotta eat. Something with archers that's important to note is that when they get hit with an arrow shot, they get staggered. So if you can kind of like wiggle a little bit, depends on the range and the time it takes for that arrow to reach them, you can get around it and kind of just shoot them in the head, step to the side, shoot them in the head, step to the side, and just lock them down that way. But that's assuming that there's no melee just coming for your ass right then. Fortunately, because I spread them out enough, I had that opportunity. That's pretty much the gist of kiting these brigands. Now, this will probably get changed in the future. It seems pretty exploitable. You can run them anywhere, and as long as you stay near them as they like realize that they're going the wrong way and turn around, they'll come right back to you. It'll reset their movement. They'll go back to jogging. You can get that distance, keep popping them in the head. They'll fall over eventually. It's like, I want to say 4 to 6 shots to the head, depending on what armor they're wearing, to kill them with the regular arrows. That pretty much boils down everything when it comes to how to deal with these reclamation camps if you don't have an army or don't want to use your army. I'll try to give like quick notes right now just to have everything laid out in a way that's more understandable. Roads are your best friend. You want to prioritize using roads that go in a different direction from where they're trying to reclaim, just so you have more breathing room, because sometimes they will like evade and run away, and if they're close to the bell tower or close to where they're trying to get to, they honestly might just ignore you. That happened to me once, and you kind of just want to avoid that by just making sure that they're not anywhere near that. And you can run them wherever you want, as long as you kind of stay within that leash range. Now, headshots are obviously the way to go because they have so much armor. Like, body shots really don't do a lot. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a brigand die from a body shot. I'm sure it's possible, but, you know, like, just try to be careful. My archery skill, as of recording this, is 10, and that's a very important factor. Your archery skill may not be 10, so you may not be able to shoot as fast or get that shot as accurate as possible in the brief amount of time you have while walking and shooting. So that's something to acknowledge. But this is a great way to get your archery skill up, and it's pretty much how I did it exactly. You will go through a lot of arrows. A reclamation party of about 8 to 9, you can expect to use upwards of 90, depending on how well you can hit your shots and whatnot. Other things that you want to take note of, food is very important. You can do it without food if you just only stick to the road. It's going to be a nightmare if you don't, just because you're never going to have stamina, and shooting your bow costs stamina. Animals can help you out in a pinch, like we saw earlier. You know, if you see a pack of wolves on your mini-map or some boars and you're just kind of swarmed by 5 of them and you just really can't find a way to get the space to take a shot, run them into the boar. 9 times out of 10, they're going to swap directly to the boar and the wolf is going to ignore you and go for them. It just gives you a few seconds to just get that distance, get that stamina regen kicking in, just try to salvage the situation. We're not really at a point yet where we have a ton of food, so I kind of forgo bringing crazy food because they do drop good food, these brigs. You can get pretty much the best food that we know of in the game so far. The stews that give combat attributes, potions, bandages. You can get really good stuff from these guys and like good T2 materials. So it is really nice. Oh, and the renown. You get like 100, like minimum from these, upwards of like 150, I believe. It's a very good renown farm. Now, another thing too, and something that we're looking to experiment with in the future, is that there are village improvements that you can make, such as like the village shrine, the lamp, the well, the farm, etc. And these village upgrades, quote unquote, as they're called, it says that it makes the towns themselves more defensible. It's not just like they walk in the town and the guards just like get on their knees and just say, hey, there's the bell tower. Eventually you can assumingly build them up to kind of be able to defend themselves, at least for a little bit. I don't know how well that's going to work. I haven't tried it. But like these reclamation parties seem to come every like 2 to 4 in-game days. And when you're trying to like get shit done, it can be really annoying having to juggle that in between like having arrows being crafted, bandit raids, just progressing on your own and doing stuff. So I'm hoping that we get to a point where it's like, hey, like Padstow's under attack, the boys will handle it. Or, you know, maybe take a couple of your guards or your townspeople, put them in a squad, and then send them over to Padstow, and then the combined efforts will be able to handle it. But for now, not having a lot of renown to afford those good villagers and just the raw materials that they drop being so valuable, it's pretty worth it. You probably want to invest into killing them. It's a great way to level up your archery, your agility. Agility is very important for this as well, because agility gives you movement speed, and movement speed is obviously one of the biggest factors in this method. My agility is 8 as of this recording. I really haven't used any books because I fucking die like a ton. You lose the progress on the book when you die, and you basically just brick the book. So, but you can give the books to your villagers. That'd be cool for them. And yeah. So yeah, I kind of just threw this video together after recording some footage of killing the break waves. If you have any questions or you want to share anything, your experiences in the game, whatever the fuck, throw it in the comments down there. My girlfriend and I spend a lot of time looking at the Discord and kind of seeing what other people are talking about, because there's a lot of nuances and bugs and like weird things that come about that we really can't figure out on our own sometimes. And the community is very involved with this as well. And a very common thing that we see talked about is these waves being really difficult. People at this point don't have armies that can really just take care of them. You kind of need to send your whole squad, like, 20 people at them, and they all have food. And early game, like, we're on day 200 plus, and we really don't have a food supply to keep 20 like villagers fed in the middle of a big fight. So yeah, you get the idea. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up if you want to. See you next time. What the fuck? Okay.